She saved my life when I had a heart attack, then spent 8 months making sure I'd die grateful enough to leave her everything. I'm William, and this is how my caregiver angel became my inheritance hunter, and how I almost became her perfectly legal victim. I'm sitting in a lawyer's office in Panama City, staring at a will I don't remember signing. According to this document, I'm leaving my entire $480,000 estate to Maria Gonzalez, a woman I've known for 8 months. The lawyer is asking if I'm sure about this decision, and for the first time in months, my mind is clear enough to realize that I'm not sure about anything anymore. The blood test results on his desk tell a story I'm still trying to understand. Traces of sedatives, mood stabilizers, and cognitive inhibitors, drugs I was never prescribed, but somehow ended up in my system. Maria, my trusted caregiver, my guardian angel, my savior. She's been slowly drugging me while positioning herself to inherit everything I've worked for in my 73 years of life. But let me take you back to where this nightmare began, because every predator starts by saving their prey. It was March 2023 when I had the heart attack that changed everything. I was living alone in my retirement home in Coronado, Panama, enjoying the beach lifestyle that my $480,000 nest egg allowed me to afford. My wife Helen had passed away 2 years earlier, and I was still adjusting to life without her. The chest pain hit me while I was making breakfast. I managed to call 911, but by the time the ambulance arrived, I was unconscious. The next thing I remember was waking up in Hospital National with tubes in my arms and a beautiful woman holding my hand. "Mr. William, you gave us quite a scare," she said in accented English. "I'm Maria, your translator and patient advocate. Your daughter in Ohio asked the hospital to assign someone to help you understand the medical procedures." I was confused and weak, but grateful. My daughter Sarah lived in Columbus and couldn't travel to Panama immediately. Having someone who spoke both languages and understood the medical system felt like a blessing. Maria was in her late 30s, professionally dressed, and spoke with the authority of someone who knew her way around hospitals. She explained my condition, translated the doctor's instructions, and helped me understand my treatment plan. "You had major heart attack," she said gently. "Doctor says you need surgery, but first you must be stronger. I will help you understand everything and make sure you get best care." The surgery went well, but recovery was slow. I was weak, confused, and struggling with the medications. Maria visited every day, bringing me home-cooked meals that the nurses allowed because she explained they were part of my cultural comfort care. "Hospital food not good for healing," she would say, spooning homemade soup into my mouth. "You need proper nutrition and someone who cares about your recovery." When it was time to leave the hospital, I faced a problem. I wasn't strong enough to care for myself, but I didn't want to move to a nursing facility. That's when Maria made an offer that seemed too good to be true. "I am certified home health aide," she explained. "I work with many American retirees in Panama. I can take care of you in your home until you are strong again. Much better than institutional care." The arrangement seemed perfect. Maria would help with my medications, prepare my meals, assist with physical therapy, and provide companionship during my recovery. She charged $600 per week, which was reasonable compared to nursing home costs. For the first month, Maria was everything I could have hoped for in a caregiver. She arrived every morning at 8 a.m. with fresh breakfast and a warm smile. She organized my medications into daily pill containers, helped me with exercises, and made sure I attended all my follow-up appointments. "You are getting stronger every day, Papa William," she would say, using the affectionate term that made me feel like I had family nearby. "Soon, you will be dancing on the beach like before." Maria's care went beyond medical needs. She cleaned my house, did my laundry, and helped me stay connected with friends in the expat community. When I felt lonely or discouraged, she would share stories about her own family and listen to my memories of Helen. "Your wife must have been wonderful, woman," she said one evening as we looked through photo albums. "I can see in your eyes how much you loved her. She would want someone to take good care of you now." The emotional support meant as much as the physical care. After 2 years of loneliness following Helen's death, having Maria's daily presence made me feel human again. She became my connection to life, my reason to get better, my source of hope. But looking back, that's when the subtle manipulation began. Maria started making small suggestions about my lifestyle, my finances, and my future planning. "Your house very big for one person," she observed during my second month of recovery. "Maybe you think about smaller place? Easier to maintain, safer for someone your age." She also began asking gentle questions about my family relationships. "Your daughter in Ohio, she visit you much? She call often? Must be hard for her, so far away when you need help." When I mentioned that Sarah and I had grown distant since Helen's death, Maria was sympathetic. "Children sometimes not understand how to help aging parents. They love you, but they busy with own lives. Sometimes stranger become more like family than blood family." By month 3, I was physically recovered, but had grown emotionally dependent on Maria's daily presence. She suggested continuing our arrangement, even though I no longer needed medical care. "I worry about you being alone," she said. "What if you have another emergency? What if you fall or get sick? I can come less often, maybe 3 times per week, just to check on you and help with household things." The arrangement made sense. I was 73, living alone in a foreign country, with no family nearby. Having Maria as a regular presence in my life felt safer and more comfortable than complete independence. But that's when the real manipulation began. Maria started bringing me herbal teas that she said would help with my continued recovery. "Special mixture from my grandmother," she explained. "Very good for heart health and energy." The teas tasted bitter, but Maria insisted they were necessary for my wellness. "American doctors only give chemicals," she said. "Natural remedies much better for long-term health." Within weeks of starting the herbal teas, I began experiencing changes in my mental clarity. I felt foggy, confused, and had difficulty concentrating. My energy levels decreased, and I became more dependent on Maria for simple tasks. "This is normal after major heart surgery," Maria explained when I mentioned feeling different. "Your body's still recovering. The herbs help, but healing takes time. You must be patient with yourself." Maria also began helping me with financial tasks. "Your bill's getting mixed up," she observed, sorting through my mail. "Maybe I help organize your paperwork? Make sure everything paid on time?" I was grateful for the help. My mental fog made financial management difficult, and Maria seemed naturally organized and trustworthy. She set up a system where I would sign checks and she would deliver them to pay my bills. "Much easier this way," she said. "You don't have to worry about deadlines or late fees. I make sure everything handled properly." But I started noticing that my bank account balance seemed lower than expected. When I mentioned this to Maria, she had explanations for every discrepancy. "You had many medical expenses not covered by insurance," she explained. Also, cost of living in Panama going up. Your money not buying as much as before." The 4th month brought a new development. Maria suggested that I should update my will and power of attorney documents. "What happens if you have another medical emergency?" she asked. "Your daughter's so far away. Who will make decisions for you?" She recommended a lawyer she knew who specialized in expat estate planning. "He very good with American retirees," she said. "He makes sure your wish is followed if something happens to you." The lawyer, Carlos Mendez, was professional and spoke excellent English. He explained that many American retirees in Panama needed updated legal documents to ensure their wishes were carried out according to local laws. "Your current will may not be valid here," he explained. "Panama has different inheritance laws. If you want your assets distributed according to your wishes, you need documents that comply with local regulations." During our meetings, I felt unusually tired and confused. The lawyer's explanations seemed complex, and I had difficulty following all legal details. Maria stayed with me during the appointments, taking notes and helping me understand the documents. "Don't worry, Papa William," she would say. "Don't worry, Papa William," she would say. "I make sure everything explained properly. This just protection for your future." The new will included provisions naming Maria as an alternate beneficiary if my daughter couldn't be reached or chose not to accept the inheritance. At the time, this seemed reasonable since Sarah and I had grown apart and she lived so far away. "Just safety measure," Maria explained. "Your daughter get everything, but if something happened to her or she not want responsibility, Then someone who knows your wishes can handle estate. By month 6, my mental fog had worsened significantly. I was having trouble remembering conversations, managing my daily schedule, and making decisions. Maria suggested that perhaps I needed more help with daily activities. "You seem confused lately," she observed. "Maybe you should think about giving someone power of attorney. Just temporary, until your mind more clear." The power of attorney document gave Maria authority to make financial and medical decisions if I became incapacitated. This way, if you have another emergency, someone can act quickly to help you, she explained. Looking back, I realized this was the moment I lost control of my own life. But at the time, I was so dependent on Maria, and so confused by my mental state, that signing the documents felt like the responsible thing to do. Month 7 brought the most dramatic change. Maria suggested that I should consider making her a more significant beneficiary in my will. "You always say I like daughter to you," she said. "Your real daughter not interested in your life here. Maybe you should leave something to person who actually care for you." The revised will left 60% of my estate to Sarah and 40% to Maria. At the time, this felt fair. Maria had been caring for me for 7 months, had become my closest companion, and deserved to be recognized for her dedication. "This very generous," Maria said when we signed the documents. "I promise to use money to help other elderly people like you. You are setting good example of how to care for people who care for you." But month 8 brought an unexpected visitor who would change everything. My daughter Sarah arrived unannounced for a surprise visit. She'd been worried about my health and had taken time off work to check on me. "Dad, you look terrible," she said the moment she saw me. "You've lost so much weight, and you seem confused." "What's wrong with you?" I tried to explain that I was still recovering from my heart surgery, but Sarah was alarmed by my appearance and mental state. "Dad, your heart attack was 8 months ago. You should be better by now, not worse." Sarah spent 3 days observing my routine with Maria. She noticed that I seemed more alert and energetic when Maria wasn't around, and more confused and lethargic after Maria's visits. "Dad, what's in those herbal teas Maria gives you?" Sarah asked on her 3rd day. "They're for my heart health," I explained. "Maria says they're better than prescription medications. Have you asked your doctor about them? Do you know what's actually in them?" I hadn't questioned the teas because I trusted Maria completely. But Sarah's concerns made me think about how my health had declined since starting Maria's herbal remedies. Sarah insisted on taking me to see my cardiologist for a complete evaluation. The doctor was surprised by my condition. "Your heart is healing well," he said, "but your cognitive function and energy levels seem compromised. Have you been taking any medications or supplements not prescribed by me?" When we mentioned the herbal teas, the doctor became concerned. "I need to run some blood tests," he said. "Some herbal mixtures can interact with your prescribed medications or contain substances that affect cognitive function." The blood test results were shocking. My system contained traces of benzodiazepines, antihistamines, and other substances that could cause confusion, memory loss, and dependency. None of these drugs had been prescribed by my doctor. "These substances appear to be administered in small doses over time," the doctor explained. "They would cause gradual cognitive decline and increased dependency on caregiver assistance." Sarah was furious. "She's been drugging you, Dad. She's been making you sick so you'd depend on her and be grateful enough to leave her your money." But the worst was yet to come. Sarah hired a private investigator to look into Maria's background. What he found was terrifying. Maria Gonzalez wasn't a certified home health aide. She was a con artist who specialized in targeting elderly foreign men. The investigator discovered that Maria had worked for at least 5 other elderly American men in Panama over the past 3 years. All of them had died under suspicious circumstances, and all of them had left significant portions of their estates to Maria. "She finds vulnerable elderly men through hospital connections," the investigator explained. "She poses as a medical professional, gains their trust during recovery, then systematically isolates them from family while making them dependent on her care." The herbal teas contained a mixture of over-the-counter drugs designed to cause cognitive decline without triggering obvious medical alarms. The combination made her victims confused and grateful, while slowly deteriorating their health. She's been slowly poisoning you while positioning herself to inherit your money, Sarah said, showing me the investigative report. If I hadn't come when I did, you probably would have died within the next few months, grateful and alone. The legal documents I'd signed while under the influence of Maria's drugs were potentially invalid due to my compromised mental state. But proving this would require extensive legal action and medical testimony. We confronted Maria with the evidence. Her reaction was calm and calculated. "William is an old man with heart problems," she said. "Sometimes old people get confused and make accusations. I've done nothing but care for him with love." She denied any wrongdoing and claimed that all the legal documents had been signed voluntarily. "William wanted to thank me for saving his life," she said. "If he is changing his mind now, that is his choice." The police investigation was complicated by the fact that the substances found in my blood were legal over-the-counter medications. While a combination and dosage suggested intentional poisoning, proving criminal intent was difficult. "This is more common than people realize," the detective explained. "Elderly targeting through false caregiving is a growing problem, especially in expat communities where family oversight is limited. We were able to revoke the power of attorney and change my will back to its original form. But Maria disappeared before criminal charges could be filed. The investigator suspected she had moved on to target another vulnerable elderly man. I spent the next 3 months detoxifying from the substances Maria had been giving me. As the drugs left my system, my mental clarity returned, and I realized how close I had come to becoming another victim of her inheritance hunting scheme. The experience taught me that predators often come disguised as saviors. Maria had literally saved my life during my heart attack, then used that act of heroism to justify slowly ending my life for financial gain. The psychological manipulation had been as devastating as the physical poisoning. She had made me feel loved, valued, and cared for while systematically destroying my health and autonomy. The betrayal of trust was almost worse than the attempted murder. I've since learned that elder financial abuse is a billion-dollar crime that often involves caregivers who gain access to vulnerable seniors through medical emergencies. The combination of physical dependency and emotional manipulation creates perfect conditions for exploitation. If you're an aging person considering caregiver assistance, please be careful about who you trust with your life and your assets. Verify credentials, maintain family connections, and never sign legal documents without independent advice. My 8-month nightmare with Maria cost me nearly $50,000 in stolen money and almost cost me my life. But if sharing this story prevents another elderly person from becoming an inheritance hunter's perfectly legal victim, then surviving this experience will have been worth it. Some angels are actually demons in disguise, and sometimes the person saving your life is planning your death.